not be able to fix it. You got it?
I'm just wild about Harry, and he's just wild about me. The heavenly blessings of his kisses fills me in ecstasy. He's sweet like chocolate candy, or like the honey from a bee. I'm just wild about Harry, and he's just wild about. Cannot do without. He's just wild about me.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to That Dog Training Show with Tanya Yarbrough. And this is episode number 68, entitled Dog as Gift. So welcome to that show where we talk about the dogs that we love and the stupid human behaviors we don't, also known as shubs. So today, dog as gift, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of giving a dog as a gift this holiday season. I know Hanukkah just finished up and Christmas is coming and it's the new year and it's an exciting time and things are changing and it's a big, it's a cool time to possibly add another family member or add if you are by yourself, having something to look forward to come home to starting the new year. So I'm going to talk about it because it's a hot topic. But before we get there, I want to talk about the upcoming classes that I'm teaching in Southern California, primarily Los Angeles. And first of all, the Pack Leadership 101 seminar, the last one for the year, is this Sunday, the 20th of December, 6 to 9 p.m. And there'll be all new classes for the new year, starting the first week of January. And I have a lot of new ones that I added on, so I wanted to kind of give you a rundown of the possibilities. You can check them all out at bluecollarworkingdog.com, just like it sounds, blue collar, as in the hardworking man, now working dog, bluecollarworkingdog.com. And the basic classes, or a lot of the classes that I teach, are basic obedience, street obedience, distance obedience, master distraction, canine good citizen prep, puppy socialization, and movie tricks. So those are all the possibilities you can have. Plus I have healing workshop, which is a 2-hour intensive for, just if you don't have time to take the whole street obedience class for 6 weeks, you can do that in one Sunday. So check for things like that. And of course the Pack Leadership 101 seminar that's still ongoing for 7 years now. So starting next year. Anyway, so I want to talk about the Shubs moment of the last month or so. It just blows my mind, and I know it blows your mind too. And if it doesn't blow your mind, it's because you're letting your dog do this and you didn't realize this is completely rude. But what is the deal with letting a dog just crotch rocket someone on the street? I mean, literally, I've walked down the street and they just let their dog on a long leash ahead of them just go bammo right into my crotch. And I'm like, really, I wouldn't let a human do that walking down the street. Why is it okay that a dog does that? Because it still leaves a wet spot on my skirt. So I really am not appreciative of that thing. So, I've talked a lot about people letting their dogs crash into other dogs' spaces. This is mentioned a lot on the show gosh, it's been over a year. This is the 68th episode. So can you, and I can understand being misinformed about how dogs should behave on leash in public. That's pretty common. People think that friendly dogs are dogs that just crash into each other and immediately want to play and rumble and all that, which is not true. But, okay, I get that you have no idea. But it seems pretty common sense that you shouldn't be letting your dog just stick their muzzle right into someone's crotch or butt when they're walking by. That's beyond being misinformed about dog behavior. That's just being an a-hole. Okay, so I'll bring it down a notch because it's Christmas season coming up. It's called being a shub. Okay? All right. So today's topic as dog as gift. So many people, and you'll see article after article online especially, and you'll hear this, little blips in the news because they need to fill it in with something fluffy, and they'll say, don't do it. Don't give a gift as a, dog or pet as a gift, da-da-da. I say maybe you should. Let's talk about why maybe you should do that. So I know the people who say don't do it they're focusing on the cons, all the bad things, and they focus on the fact that people give up on the pets very early because they weren't prepared. And I understand that, but I think it's much more informative and much more helpful to not, have this panic attack about, giving a pet as a gift to someone or to yourself for that matter, but actually focusing on why it is a good thing or is a bad thing, depending on who you are and what your situation is. So let's talk about the cons first, just to go through the whole hype stuff. And that is one, a dog is too much responsibility too fast for a lot of people, especially if the dog as a gift was a surprise. The person wasn't prepared for a dog, wasn't looking for a dog, wasn't, finished researching, etc. And this is a complete surprise to them. It's like they just, voila, come home and someone says, hey, look at this puppy, it's for you. And you're like, oh, yeah, that could be a problem. Especially if the dog is a puppy or a dog with behavioral issues, which most dogs will. If you're adopting a dog that's older than, 2 months old, there's a good chance the dog has some kind of behavioral issue that wasn't perfectly cared for. So you're talking about something that requires a lot of commitment in the beginning, a lot of investment, shall we say, in the beginning before you start seeing the glorious dog that you always wanted to have. So that's another problem in terms of like too much responsibility too fast. And then C, especially if the lifestyle of the new owner hasn't been considered. I've seen this happen with people where they, a boyfriend gets a girlfriend a dog after they had a fight, but the girlfriend works 12 hours a day, 4 days a week. Yes, it's not quite 60 hours a week that she's working, but she doesn't have the lifestyle that would be conducive in her mind to take care of a dog like that. So that's just, those are the things that where a dog is too much responsibility too fast, and this is not a good idea to have. That would be a reason not to have a dog or as a gift for someone. Number 2 reason why it's not a good idea, the cost of owning a new dog is usually higher than anticipated. It always costs more than you think it's going to cost you having a pet. An exception to the rule might be a hamster or a snake. So, because they live in a cage and not much changes. So that's kind of the way it goes. But the gift of a dog includes burdening the new owner with new costs. And if this is a person who has, just getting by, it may not be a good idea to give them a whole new, what we would be considered a car payment for the first 6 months of its life, with the new owner. So that might not be a good idea. B, under the cost, there, the required time necessary to care for the dog may be more than anticipated. So when you're talking about a puppy, especially, or a dog with behavioral issues, because you've adopted this dog that's not 2 months old, you've got yourself a situation with you don't realize how much you have to invest until you actually are in the moment with the dog. So you might think that you only need to spend a couple of hours a day extra in investing in this new animal, but it might be much more than that. And C, under the cost, holidays are often full of trips, vacations, surprise weekends away, so the new dog may cost the loss of these trips, plane tickets, planned times with family, etc. You might be surprising your girlfriend with a puppy. She might have been surprising you with a weekend out on New Year's Eve, and therefore now you have this puppy you can't even go. That's how I usually end up like getting some business in boarding, is that all of a sudden we've got this dog, or they've picked up a dog off the street, but now it's holiday season or, birthday weekend or whatever, and so they need someone to take care of the dog almost immediately after they've adopted the dog. So, the timing might be a little bit of a problem, especially if you make this a surprise. Number 3, as far as cons that most people freak out about, is picking out a dog as a personal journey. And I totally agree with that too. I mean, it's absolutely a personal journey thing where the person who's getting the dog should have some hand in the decision of what dog to get. A pet like a dog is very, very personal. I mean, any pet is actually, even people who have tarantulas or Madagascar hissing cockroaches as pets, it's very personal for them. So, let them be part of that process. So I'll break it down in 3 sections here too, is a dog must bond well with a human or humans who will live with them. So if the dog doesn't like the smell or the energy, or, it doesn't handle children well or what have you, this can be a problem for future bonding, like you may end up investing a lot of time and energy and expenses on a dog that really is not going to adjust well. Um, B, picking out collars and leashes and brand or quality food is also a personal choice and part of the bonding with a new dog. I mean, it's not just about, going out and, oh, I got this dog, we've got this dog together, etc. But they also want to be part of the process of, actually, picking out the color of the collar and what kind of bling is on it. Especially us females, we're terrible about that. But that's the kind of thing that it's part of the fun part of having a new dog is getting all the stuff for it, which is also part of the costs that we don't anticipate. But that's something that should be personal, not like everything is picked out for you kind of thing. So, that's something to consider. And then C, the temperament of a dog is an important and personal decision that affects bonding and lifestyle with the dog. There are a lot of dogs that I think are attractive and cute, but I would never live with them. I wouldn't choose them as my personal pet based on what they need and their kind of temperament based on their breed versus mine. So it's like I might make a comment to, a loved one and say, oh, I really love French bulldogs. But that doesn't mean that I want a French bulldog. Okay? So we have to be careful about that. It's just, you may have thought this was a great idea. It's not the same thing as picking out a flat screen TV. It's just not the same thing. So those are some of the cons that has to do with, picking out a dog, or any pet for a gift for somebody else without really having their input, etc. There's a lot of investment involved, and it's a very personal thing, and I think that the person who's receiving the pet should be involved in that process. So now, on the opposite end, here are the pros to that. So the pros are that dogs do require a lot of responsibility. Hello. It sounds like it's the opposite, but really, for instance, if you think about it, like for kids, when guided and supervised by parents, it can be an important, enriching experience. So it teaches a work ethic. It teaches them to actually be responsible for something other than just their toys and pick them up off the floor. B, feeding, grooming, attention, medical care, things that help children not only learn empathy, which is extremely important. You guys all know, like, a lot of the problems we have with behavioral issues among young adults and young teenagers now is because there's a lack of empathy. There's quite a narcissistic society. And having a pet and being really, truly responsible for that pet, in as much as they're able to handle it, teaches a child to be empathetic, and also teaches them to kind of prioritize their relationships with other people over being, instead of being self-centered, and like, I want to go play with my friend Billy outside and do that, which rarely happens anymore. They learn a little self-sacrifice. No, I can't go out and play. I gotta walk my dog and do some training tricks, things like that. So it's kind of an important thing that can happen with kids. It's also something that I've heard adults say about themselves. Like, I think I need to learn to be a little more responsible with my time management, and I want to get more exercise, and I've wanted a dog for a long time, and I think this is the time for me to start stepping up and acting like an adult and doing this. I've heard adults say that and really actually be successful. So it doesn't just apply to kids. It takes a little bit of humility for an adult to come up with that and realize that they need to, kind of put themselves out there and work on relationship stuff and all that, and have the pet that they always wanted. Okay, so C, in terms of dogs requiring responsibility, and this is a good thing, again, referring to children mostly, helps children get into a work ethic related routines and balances their circadian rhythm. Yeah, they go to bed at a certain time, they get up at a certain time, they have to be kind of regular about it. They learn to actually manage their time better, and it promotes good habits of actually, being responsible for things beyond just homework or picking up their toys. So, and there's something naturally joyful about being able to making it a chore to walk your dog and play with your dog on purpose for a certain amount of time. Play ball with the dog for 15 minutes. That's something that the child and the dog immediately get gratified for. So it's an automatic reinforcement. So it's a good thing for especially children, but also for people who tend to find themselves a little bit less inclined to go out. And going back with adults, just to expand on that, with people who have PTSD and have a hard time getting out of the house, or people who have several, anxiety disorders, so they also have a hard time getting out of the house, having the dog serves a purpose. That's why they're called service dogs, because they actually force the owner, the handler, to get out and manage their time and expose themselves to the outside world